Gopalanandana Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are like the cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. The calf is Arjuna. The people of purified intellect are the drinkers of the milk, and the milk is the supreme nectar of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 5, verse 7. The way to renunciation. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. So here is one of those beautiful, you can say, verses. Endowed with yoga, pure in mind, controlled in body, a conqueror of the sense organs, the self of the selves of all beings. One does not become tainted even while performing actions. Yeah. People say, what's spirituality? This is spirituality. People want visions as some spiritual. I saw an angel flying somewhere at the speed of light. That was the vision, yeah. That is not counted at all as spirituality. So what is spirituality? This is spirituality. You see something nice and you taste something nice and you hear something nice. It's such a spiritual feeling. That's not spirituality. It's just a kind of a sublime, you can say, sensory experience. Nothing else. And here it is that Jitendriya, one has to be a conqueror of the senses, because without that there is no knowledge. So, yoga yukto, joined to yoga or engaged in yoga, vishuddhatma, pure in mind. Yeah, the mind, the whole antakaran. The mind, intellect, the ego, and memory, all this purified. Controlled in body, vijitatma, jitatma. So, a little thing, we are feeling a little hungry, we'll put something in the mouth. A little thirsty, we'll drink something. A little tired, we'll sleep. And then we say we want spirituality. Well, you do this first. Show yourself as you're not a slave to the body. When you can do that, the body is the slave and the master. Then it's kind of vijitatma, one who has conquered the body. And, senses are so unruly. They will go wherever they want to. They don't ask you, should I go there? Should I see this? Should I listen to that? No. We are doing our stuff. What you want to do, you do it yourself. We are not bothered. So the person here now has become alert, getting his body, the senses, and the mind and everything within the control, within one's control. And you know what it then again saying? The self of the selves of all beings. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. It's a tremendous. People talk about empathy and sympathy. That's a kind of on the very lower, you can say, scale of, you can say, human evolution. Though it is considered, it is actually high. Because in this world of selfishness, to get some sympathy is rare. People are so closed in their own world, they don't want to see anything outside other than self-interest. So this person, once you can perform all these kind of this precondition, what you feel yourself as the self of all beings. You will not do anything to hurt anyone in thought, word, and deed. It's not only identification with everyone, identification with that consciousness. So suddenly your consciousness that was limited only to the body now has become expanded. So long it was thinking, this is my body, this is my life, and these are my pleasures, and these are my pains, avoid them. I want this, I want that. Suddenly your consciousness expands. And as it expands, you will see yourself there. The idea is, the question was raised by Arjuna. You're talking about renunciation of actions. At the same time, you're talking about karma yoga, which is contradictory. Tell me, which of the two is good? So the Lord says, both can lead you to the highest stage. Nishreyasa karavubho. Now, this verse is now describing that state. What is that state? The state of enlightenment. So what happens to that person who is enlightened? How does the person behave? How does the person operate? On what level does the person operates? Some time ago there was a person who wrote to me saying I had this and I had that, and then we were bouncing back emails, Then I said, after all your claims, you still talk like your old self. How is that? So he stopped writing to me. Obviously, you are not your old self anymore. If you come out of your own world, of your own, you can say, illusions, you are not your old self. You appear as if you are performing those old things over and over again. But that doesn't matter. To you, you are identified with everything. And everything in the sense, generally people say, the human beings. No, it's not just human beings. It is with all creation. The selves of all beings, sarva bhutatma bhutatma, the self of all beings. Every being has a self. So you are identified there on the deeper level. What do you do? You can identify. Can you be specific? Yeah, you begin loving people. You begin loving creation. You love everything, whatever is there around you. Anything that you can say is visible and non-visible, you love it. So that's the first manifestation of feeling you are identified with. And in this love, there is no bargaining. You say, Swami Vivekananda is very clear. There is no give and take and all these things. You love for love's sake. That's what his highest ideal in Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion, is love for love's sake. Love knows no fear. Love knows no wants. Love. Love itself is the highest ideal. And that is the manifestation of this. The self of all beings. This is what happens. So we have seen some people, my God, amazing people. But anyway, kurvan api na lipyate. Even while performing everything, that person is not tainted. Lipyate is to be tainted. That person is not. Why? Because there is no self-interest or selfishness where you can hang all your, you can say, your concepts and your wants and this and that, nothing. So in our minds, we have all these pegs, millions and millions of pegs. We hang this idea here, we hang this want here, we hang this desire there, we have this memory here. So a room inside is full of these things which we have hung over all these pegs. Suppose you remove all the pegs, everything falls off. The simple illustration always given like a lotus leaf in the water. It grows in water, the lotus, but the leaf remains untouched by water. That's the idea. So, Sri Ramakrishna also said the boat has to be in the water. The water shouldn't be in the boat, or it's going to capsize. So, what we are doing is, we are like that huge steamer, like the Titanic. We are going full speed, and we think everything is okay, we are unstoppable, and suddenly we bump into something. And then what happens? Well, it's Titanic disaster of epic proportions. This is what, that person is not tainted, the person keeps on doing whatever. So here, Karma Yoga leads to enlightenment. The first stage is, it attenuates your attachments to the world and to things. Then it purifies your memory. Smriti Parishuddho, that memory is purified. And as memory is purified, your desire to see God keeps on increasing and increasing and increasing. So the mind naturally gravitates towards your inner self. As you keep on manifesting your inner self or going towards that inner self, you will see it as dimensionless. First you thought it was a dimension. It was somewhere in the top of the head, or somewhere in the ear, or somewhere in the throat, or somewhere here, somewhere with a dimension, angushta matra, the size of a thumb. Meditate on that. It's a dimension. It's a place that's been given, space and time. Meditate. For 20 hours you meditate on this. Okay. All right. So after 2 minutes we meditate. We have meditated for 20 hours. As you approach it gradually, through the purification of your mind, endowed with yoga, pure in mind, controlled in body, and the conqueror by conquering the sense organs, you approach that inner self of yours and you find it without dimensions. It is here, it is there, it is everywhere. Where is the electron? It is here, it is there, it is everywhere. Well, what is that? What kind of entity is that? That itself. It's everywhere. So, but here I am in this place and you are there in this place. We are all in this place. Yeah, we are pinned down, as it were, to this place. So, how do you unpin yourself? You get back into yourself, your real self. And there you really unpin yourself. Your body is sitting down doing all the things, but you become identified with the selves of all the beings. Your real self becomes dimensionless. It becomes all-pervading. So that's why it's saying yoga yukto. Yoga, as you say, karma yoga yukto. Now, the Lord is very clear that saying you've got to keep on working. But avoid the, you can say, idea of rewards and punishment in work. This is renunciation. Sannyasam karma yogascha nishrayasa. It is a dynamic renunciation. The other renunciation was keep quiet, don't do anything. Oh, that is not good for me. That's troublesome. That guy is calling me, isn't even help? No, that's another headache. I became an escapist. So renunciation is a form of escapism. Many people say, these guys, escapist. Yeah, hundreds of troubles we have to take, don't worry. In fact, there are people who are engaged with this whole world and they want to escape its trials and miseries. You see? Why do people go in for drugs and alcohol and all this? Why do you have to go? Face everything. No, that is, we need some kind of respite, we need some kind of escapism. We need to forget ourselves. Oh, this is where we misstep. So here the Lord is very clear. No escapism. You engage yourself in work, and when you work for the Lord, you work even more. First you used to work only so much, 9 to 5. And now it is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. there, and then again, it's 24 hours, over and over. Why? But now you're getting a tremendous joy. You're raising a wave in the spiritual world with your work. Otherwise, what work we are doing? After 2 minutes, people forget what you have done here. Somebody baked a cookie and we ate it and then it's over. What happened? 2-3 hours of baking a cookie and that was finished. That work has not left an impression in the mind. That work is weak. That work has got behind no devotion. Now suppose you bake something, you do something for the Lord, you put all your focus, your attention, your energy, that work becomes powerful. The Lord becomes pleased. And that is what is karma yoga. Not to please one's ego, but to please the Lord. And this is how, so keep on working and working and working. Just working like a drudge? No. Work with that sense of feeling that I am an instrument of the Lord. Or that consciousness is there in me, that is beyond all actions. Which the next verse, 8th verse takes up. In fact, the 8th and the 9th verses are always taken together. So we'll take them together. Chapter 5, verse 8 and 9. Take the translation first. Remaining absorbed in the self, the knower of reality should think, quote, I certainly do not do anything, unquote. I don't do anything. Even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, speaking, releasing, holding, opening and closing the eyes. So here you are. Remembering that the organs function in relation to the objects of the organs. This is a tremendous verse. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavid. Tattvavid, one who knows reality. You think what? I do not do anything. Really? But here you are. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Swasan, Pralapan, Visrijan, Grinnan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi, Indriyani, Indriyartheshu, Vartanta iti dharayan. Oh, beautiful. It's unparalleled. Like this thing, some of these verses, most of these verses are matchless. You're doing everything. You're walking, talking, eating, sleeping, doing everything. But this guy says, I do not do anything. What is this? Yeah, even I'm opening and closing my eyes without the feeling of I'm doing it. I'm breathing. Oh yeah, now I'm breathing. I walk, talk, sleep. So Swami Vivekananda says there are, on the plane of this conscious plane, which is ruled over by the sense of I, you have work that is, you can say, associated with the feeling of egoism. When you go below the sense of I, the unconsciousness, there is no sense of I there. So people are doing all the work. unconsciously, without any sense of I. Yeah, you're breathing. Are you breathing? Yeah, I'm breathing now. Then you forget and you're doing something else. You're opening, you're closing your eyes, you're breathing. Everything you're doing subconsciously. Okay? Now, is this person doing things subconsciously? No, Swami Vivekananda said there's another plane of activity which is above the sense of I. It appears, both appear similar. Here, things are being done, actions are being performed without the sense of agency, without the sense of I. But that's subconscious. There's another level of consciousness which is a higher consciousness or higher mind or super consciousness, where you work without a sense of agency, without a sense of I. So when you talk about this sense of I, it's only limited to a thin film between the ocean of super consciousness and the depths of the subconsciousness. We have a whole, you can say, world of consciousness, but we are guided only by this small, thin film between these two oceans. Why? What are we doing here? So this person, yukto, it's not that the person does things subconsciously. That person does it through hyper-consciousness. Super. Where everything, this whole world, appears very small. When we were young, very young, somebody used to give us a few coins and we were so thrilled. Oh! You could now go to the shop and buy something, if you run. You show it to 20 friends of ours. See? Now, you give that same amount to me now? What's that? You have grown, you have matured. So similarly, your consciousness matures. It becomes broader. It overflows your genetic boundaries. Your organic system itself is guiding you. I. The body is, and the brain is designed for you to survive in this world. This world is a terrible place. So it has to be designed to survive here. This person's consciousness has become unfurled. That person has become the real person. So when all actions through the sense organs to the motor organs or subconsciously, everything now is being performed how? Guna gunesha vartante. The sense organs and the objects of the sense organs, they work together by the laws of nature. The eyes will go and see this thing. Why should you go and say, I am seeing this thing? You see things as they are. Then the moment you see things as they are, you will see everything is passing. Everything is a show. It's a passing show. Why do you want to hold on to? We are constantly changing. Our bodies are changing. Our minds are changing. Yet we think we are the same person. No. You have changed. You have transformed. But all ideas of, I'm the same person. Nature itself is showing you nothing is static. Everything is flowing. So that's why in Buddhism they say, everything is a pratitya samutpada. It has, you can say, codependent origination. Everything is dependent on something else. This is dependent on this is dependent on this is dependent on this. There is nothing independent in this universe. Everything depends on everything else. Everything. The forces in nature, the particles in nature, you, me, everything is dependent on everything else. Who designed it? These are the laws of nature. You don't have to bother about this. Why should you think that, this is being done for me. Nothing, nothing. Millions of us have come and have gone. Yeah, greater people than us have come and gone. The earth is as it is. Earth itself is changing. So the moment you understand this yogi, this yoga yukta, the person is yogi, and the tattvavid, the one who knows the truth. What does the one who knows the truth see? He sees the whole thing as changing. And he or she sees something which is changeless. And that changelessness is that real nature. This is not real nature. It's a passing show. It is Maya. It is nothing. So when you ascend to your higher mind, you will see yourself as an object. Right now, we are the subject and everything else is an object. Because the mind is now enmeshed with the body and the brain. You raise the mind up a little and then the body itself becomes an object. The senses become an object. You can see your own senses. You can see your own mind. And then you understand that you are the knower of the reality. What's the reality? It's the consciousness. That is it. What is consciousness? Oh my God. Yeah. It is Chit. It is that reality. It is that truth. But we are seeing that consciousness as a Chit, as non-consciousness, as gross, as jada, as they say. So this person has been able to detach or separate his or her consciousness from everything else. First by loving everybody, sympathizing with everybody, feeling identified with everything. And then slowly, you see, what am I doing? This is not me at all. You see a higher aspect of yourself. You have a lower aspect and you have a higher aspect. And as you keep on ascending to the higher aspect, you will see, oh my God, what was I doing? So will this thing stop? Will your bodies and senses stop functioning? Well, no, you'll keep on. These things are operating by the laws of nature. So when you attain enlightenment, so does this body stop functioning? No, it keeps on running. Let it run. So what is that to you? But you have detached. In India, we give an example of, once a week there used to be a kind of a village market, a marketplace. And every trader and every kind of craftsman used to get his or her wares. And there was that marketplace, and that was a particular market day. And people used to kind of buy and sell and all these things. So there was a person who was a kumbhak, that is a kumbhakar. That is, he used to manufacture or you produce earthenware pots and pans. In India we had this, like, they are formed and and then they baked, in the kiln. So he used to go once a week to that fair and the marketplace, sell thing, and come back. It was for years and years. One day he sees some of his friends sitting down on the tree and playing cards. So he said, "Hey, I'll join you." And he takes the reins which the bullock cart, he ties the reins down to the cart and then he jumps off and he goes and plays with it. The bullocks know they have been doing this over and over and over again. They will walk down that street and go to that person's house that they know. But this guy has already got out of that cart. So the body and the senses will keep on functioning. What happened to that guy? That guy has become everything. That person's consciousness has become everything. So what happens? These things will keep on going. So as a form of practice, when that person has been purified in mind, you know, and then you say, control the organs, control the body, always joined to yoga, that person should think, tattvavit manyate, yukto manyeta. The one should think, I do not do anything. Naiva kinchit karomi. I do not do anything. Then who does? From the dualistic standpoint, Sri Ramakrishna says, I am the doer is ignorance. God is the doer, that is knowledge. It's as simple as that. So you eliminate the I, put in the Lord, and there it is. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tat. Pashyan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swasan. You're breathing, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're touching, you're smelling, you're moving, you're sleeping, you're speaking, excreting, holding, opening and closing, that everything that a jiva, the individual soul encased in the body, is doing, this is nothing but that person has foolishly identified itself with the actions of the senses. The problem is, what happens? We don't really know the glory of the Atman. Yeah. How glorious, what a magnitude that you can say that glory is. That power, that strength, that knowledge, that renunciation, that love that is there in the Atman is just unbelievable. And yet we are believing like small, helpless human beings. There's in Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel, in the Great Master, in Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna used to live there was those huge gardens, lawns, and during the rainy season, the grass used to grow up very long. So they had permitted people from outside to cut the grass and use it as fodder for their cattle. So Sri Ramakrishna, one time he sees one old man, not very strong. He has bundled so much of grass and he's trying to pick it up and is failing in it. And Sri Ramakrishna looks at that and goes into samadhi. And he says, so much foolishness outside, but so much knowledge inside. Inside the Atman is there, that's all knowledge. And outside, this foolishness, that greed for a little extra grass, which is obviously given free to you. That person can lift it up, but struggling to lift it up, the bundle of grass. This is what we are. The Atman, the infinite knowledge inside and so much foolishness outside. We are exactly like that. So much foolishness outside and all that light of knowledge inside. We should have been identifying ourselves with that. And this takes you to that. Then what happens? You give up your foolishness. What's the foolishness? This. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Jikra. All those sensory, you can see, functions in the mind. They're kind of amazing. The next verse here. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sapapena padma patra vivambasa. Like a lotus leaf in the water. One who acts by dedicating actions to Brahman, to God, And by renouncing attachment, one does not become polluted or tainted by sin, just as a lotus leaf is not tainted by water. Here it is. So what do? This is what it is. You dedicate all your actions to the Lord. This is what is the beginning, the middle, and the end of Karma Yoga. People think, Karma Yoga, that's the lowest yoga. No, that's not a lowest yoga. We think that's the lowest yoga. But to really work as a Karma Yogin, it takes a lot of vigilance, a lot of concentration, a lot of love and dedication for God. And you've got to be constantly busy with that. In the story of Girish Chandra Ghosh, one of Sri Ramakrishna's disciples. So Sri Ramakrishna used to praise him for his tremendous faith in the Guru, and the God. But his actions, he was a dramatist and he was a creative person, he was an artist, he was an actor, he was a singer, all these kind of things. And he had led a wayward life. And as he came in touch with Sri Ramakrishna, he was slowly now getting transformed. So Sri Ramakrishna says, you see, you take God's name, 2 times a day. Saying, I cannot take 2 times a day. Before sleeping, sometimes I don't know when I'm going to sleep. Sometimes say, it's at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Okay, before eating, I can do that also. I don't know what time I eat and where. He was unwilling to tell Sri Ramakrishna, yes, I will take the name of God 2 times or 3 times a day. No, he wasn't sure. He was so busy and busy. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, okay, he goes into Samadhi. You don't have to do anything. Give your power of attorney to me. And Girish Ghosh was so pleased. Thank God. I don't have to do anything. He's saying, yes, I give the power of attorney to you. There. And towards the end of his life, Girish Ghosh says, there is an end to sadhana, there is an end to spiritual practices, but there is no end to this form of dedicating all your actions to God. It is always there. At one time, Sri Ramakrishna pointed out, Girish Ghosh says, I'll do that. Just a moment, what do you mean you will do that? Say, if God is gracious, I will have that done. So Sri Ramakrishna was correcting him. When you have given your power of attorney to God, to that avatar, to Sri Ramakrishna, you cannot push your ego out in the front. I'll do it. I'll say no. Now you wait for the impulse from God to come and you will feel it. People say, the devil is impelling me to do all these things. God will impel you. You will feel that impulse to say or do or think or work comes directly from God. And then you will see your life gradually changing. If that impulse is coming from your own ego, be careful. If the impulse comes from the Lord, it's coming from a deeper consciousness, a deeper layer of yourself. And you will see that it is raising you up. When impulses to work or do something come from your lower self, it drags you down. So this person, when he's feeling the impulse to do everything coming from directly from the Lord, from the knowledge of the reality, that person is not bothered. So nothing touches him. It's like this. One who acts by dedicating actions to Brahman and by renouncing attachment. Attachment to what? Attachment to the fruits of karma phala, to the fruits of birth. one does not become tainted by sin. Sin in the sense, demerit. Just as a lotus leaf is not tainted by water. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate na sapapena padma patra vivambasa. Beautiful verse. So here it is. Like a lotus leaf in the water, you are in the water does not touch you. You are in the world, keep on doing everything. Nothing is going to taint you. People of low intelligence and very little strength, they try to avoid work. I remember long time ago, I was grumbling about one particular type of work. I had already worked for some time, and then so one Swami tells me, he said, come here. Never say no to work. If you don't do it today, you're going to do it tomorrow. And you're going to have to do it with interest. Yeah, the more you delay that thing, the more it will grow. Okay, so finish off that. But I say finish, there's no kind of finishing of that karma. Karma is, yes, finish that and dedicate that your actions to the Lord. Okay, this is what it is. This is what actually that Swami was telling me. And in his kind of very homely way, you don't have to do that. I have seen some monks, oh my God, really, 60, 70 years they kept on doing work by dedicating their actions to the Lord. Especially one Swami, so you are the great Swami, Swami Muktananda, Van Vihari Maharaj. My God, when I saw him, I had heard so much of him. When I saw him, my God, that person was a living God. And what work did that person do? I mean, physical work. He was working in one of our hospitals in Benares. And his only work was to dress the wounds. Clean wounds and put gauze, and then bandage it. And he did nothing but this. And all the surgeons used to say, I will only operate if Van Vihari Maharaj will do the dressing and all that. People used to stand in rows to have a glimpse of him. Why? Because this person, you could see, just by doing karma yoga. And people used to come and say, please let touch your hands to my child or to other, and we will be cured. And he was very simple, this Swami. Yeah, okay. What a great, you can say, life that was. 60 years, and he used to stand. By that time, when I saw him, his legs had become like they are bent, like bows. And he had taken a cane, 2 canes, and walking. And we are saying, what is the need of you doing this thing anymore? You have a necessity. I said, no. He used to stand and do that work. Nothing else but dressing wounds up. Cuts, wounds, burns, everything. That's it. And tremendous. So, this so that he did everything by dedicating his actions to God. I remember when I first saw him, when you see some people, they kind of blow you out. You blow your mind, as they say. Blow your mind was blown. And he was so loving and so kind, and I saw him walking towards me, and actually I was walking towards him. Okay. And he was dragging his feet, like in the sense of, he was quite heavy bulk, dragging his kind of legs. And his face and his eyes, my God. So this is where one who acts by dedicating actions to the Brahman and by renouncing attachment does not become polluted by sin. So I still remember, my God, that will become those object lessons. They were the living, you can say, exemplars of the Bhagavad Gita. This is what we need to do. Keep on working. Don't say no to work. Keep on working, but say no to the fruits of work. I don't know. I've got dedicated this work to God. God knows. God really knows the fruits. I'm not interested in the fruits. And this life is very short, you see. The whole day has passed. We don't know how. Years have passed. We don't even realize what's happening. What are we doing? The moment we become aware that in this impermanence there is that permanence called God, I'll dedicate everything. So that will kind of fill us with that sense of urgency. Things, the time is running out between my kind of fingers. Like everything is over, getting over. Quickly, do it now. I sit down and try to meditate and thinking of 20 things. And then I get up and think as if I will show people as if the whole world should see me. I've meditated for 1 hour. You thought about more than 20 things. There is no sense of urgency. There is no sense of kind of love for God. I must dedicate this work to God. I'll do more work. Come. And the more I do, the more better I will become. I become liberated from all bondages. Okay? We'll stop here for today. The next verse, 11th verse also is, Swamiji also has quoted this. Quoted in sense, in his beautiful, we can say, way. He's explained that verse in comment. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.